This broadcast is made possible by F&B Namibia. This lesson is provided by Eduvision with the support of sponsors.
Okay, so now we come to a very special new part, and this is definitely going to be in your papers what we're going to do now here. Okay, and this is what we call arc length. So perhaps you can just write this in your workbooks, arc length, and the area sector. This is new things. So let's think of a piece of pizza that you are eating. Sometimes it's a cheese, then it's a cake. This question is also always there in the papers. Now we want the arc length. That is the arc that we are talking about. So can you see that this is part of your circumference? The arc length is then part of your circumference. So this is this part that we're talking here. That's why we say it is theta out of 360 degrees. Why 360? Because here it's a revolution. And then of 2πr. That is the formula that we're going to use for arc length. To find that arc length, it's that one that we're going to use. Okay, so let's look in the textbooks. This is then on page 260. There's examples, and we're going to do now exercise 16.9, page 261. Page 261. Right, so let's look at this one. For each of the following, give the length of the arc to one decimal place. O is the center of the circle. So I'm going to do the first one now together with you. Number 1A. Okay, so you can see that's exactly like the picture there. So what will be the arc length? Theta over 360 degrees of 2πr. And in this case, the radius is 8. So that's how we calculate that one. Come in your workbooks now, exercise 16.9, 6.28 centimeters because it's arc length. Can you see? It's arc length. Okay, I want you to do now B, C, and D. Yeah, I showed you here. There. The arc length. That's the arc length. This is the radius. That's the arc length that we're calculating now. Okay, so I want you to do B to D. Okay, let's quickly try B to D. Okay, so let's quickly mark then B, C, and D. So what did you get now, Jean-Pierre? 8 out of 360 times 2πr. In this case, it's radius. What do you get? You can even give your answer in terms of P. We can do that as well. Right, yeah. Then number C. So 110, some calculators give it like that. They just give it in terms of that. 360 of 2p, and the radius is 6 this time. 11.5. Okay, and then number D, is it exact then, or did you round off? Right, and what about the last one? 270 over 360 of 2pr. And this time the radius is 5. Okay, so you can see it's quite easy. You just need to know the formula there.
This lesson is provided by Eduvision with the support of sponsors.
Mean. Okay, now let me explain to you and then we'll go to the textbook. Let's take your grade 10 exam. 0 to 19, 20 to 29, this was the groups, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and then the last one is then 80 to 100. Now I have group data. You can think if we are 24,000 learners or 48,000 are writing the grade 10 exam, it makes no sense to put them from zero. Then we work with group data. And you will agree this was an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So that's what we're using. So now we get the frequencies in the next column. That's the results there. Now, to calculate the mean now, what did we say was mean now all the time? Total divided by frequency. But now, what are you going to take now? You've got a group now. So we have to make a new column here, which we call mid-value. And this is so important, mid-value, because you can't do it the other way. So what we do, and I want you on your calculators to do it, you add the 2 and you divide it by 2. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter if it looks like this and this or whatever, you add the 2 and divide by 2, yes? Right, this one, 20 to 29, 24.5, 34.5, 44.5, these ones are all the same, 54.5, 64.5, 74.5, this one, and now the last one is 90. The mid value there is 90. So Joshua, they don't need to be the same. It can be different ones there. Then we make another new column which we call FX. And FX is then the mid value times the frequency. The mid value times the frequency. Come, so let's quickly get that. 2 times 9.5 is again 19. This one is 24.5. This one is 0. 44.5. Okay, let's calculate quickly here. 2 times 54.5. 109. 6 times 64. 8 times 74. 596, and 4 times 90 is 360. So now the total is your FX. So now it's going to become FX divided by F. So now we add this total and we have to get the total here. Come, you add that and I'll add here. Do you agree? 1,540 divided by 24. So 64.2. That was then the average mark for this grade 10 exam, the results that were. Now, the mean is your most accurate one. Your mean is usually your most accurate one. Yeah, but you can, that question comes up. It's a very good question, how accurate is. It's not so precise because we work with group data, because you can get a lot of learners who have in the 80s and very few actually in the 90s, but we say that the middle is there at 90. But this is how you calculate group data. They ask you sometimes, why is it not accurate? And then the answer is because it is group data. You can say that. Okay, but this is then what we're going to do now. So I want you in your textbooks to look on page 349, and then we're going to do an example there. Even if we mark in Windhoek and you have to give the ratings where you're going, then you tally them like this, in groups like this. You sit with 500 and then that you've marked, and then you tally them all to get this. You add the 2 and divide by 2. We're just going to do a few out of the textbook, and then we're going to do it out of Cambridge questions, because you'll get a better idea there with the Cambridge questions. Let's look at number 1. The heights of 50 basketball players attending a tournament are recorded in the group frequency table. You must now be in your workbook. We're now in the workbook. Note, and that's important, that part, 1.8 means it's from 1.8 to 1.9. So I'm going to rather to write it like this. So you set up a table now in your work. So, and we're going to make 4 columns. You'll have to make 4 columns there. So this is then the height. This is the frequency. And this one we're going now to call mid value, because we get mean with mid values, and that one is FX. This one is FX then. Okay. Now, so I think it should be better if you write it like this, is less than, the height is less than 1.9. Otherwise, we're going to struggle. 1.9 is less than equal than the height is less than 2. Then 2 is less than equal than the height is less than 2.1. 2.2 is less than equal than the height is less than equal than 2.2 to 2.4. So that's the columns that I have there. Now the frequencies, 2, 5, 10, 22, 7, and 4.
This lesson is provided by Eduvision with the support of sponsors.
Okay. Right, so we continue now with statistics, and at this stage we are looking at the mean and the mean of group data. So we did a table yesterday on page 349, exercise 21.3, exercise 21.3 on page 349. And that is where we have to calculate now the mean. So we made the columns of the height, then it was the frequency, then we made the column of the mid value, and then we set fx. That was how we worked out. We did all the columns already yesterday. So now we'll have to add fx divided by f. This is how we're going to get the mean. So in your table, you still have the information there in front of you. Just add all those values of fx. We've given them yesterday, so just add them. It's in your workbook. In your workbook. So the frequency is 2, 5, 10, 22, 7, and 4. Now, how do I get that mid value? So I said you add the 2 and divide it by 2. So 1.8 plus 1.9 divided by 2 will give you 1.85. The second one will be 1.95. Then 2.05, 2.15, 2.25, and the last one is 2.35. Yes, we were busy with it in your workbook. Right, and then fx. So if the 2 times mid value will give you fx. 3.7, 5 times 1.95, 9.75, 10 times this one, so it's 20.5. 22 times 2.15, 47.3, and 7 times 2.25, and 4 times 2.35. Okay, so now you add this column of fx. Add your column of fx. What is the total now? If you add fx, 106.6. And what was the frequency? 50. It was given right at the beginning. So now the mean is 106.6 divided by 50. Divide by 50. And that's how you get the mean of group data. The mean of group data. 2.13. Just be careful. I see so often the learners know what to do, but they make a mistake somewhere here and then you lose the marks. It counts usually 4 marks, mid value, fx, there, and the answer. So it's a question that counts a lot of marks. 2.113. Okay, and then they say estimate the mean, and if you look at the original table, which one is the modal height? Modal is like mode. No, 2.2, yeah, 2.1 to 2.2. That is the modal group. Okay, now when I give you the Cambridge questions, we're going to do more of this. There's a lot of them in there. They have nice tables and taking it then also further, so I prefer those questions. Now, if you look on page 350, we look at scatter diagrams. Now, in the whole of maths of my 30 years, I think I'm teaching this higher level maths, there was one question on scatter diagrams, but you get this in biology. They ask that. So that is when we don't have information which gives you a straight line graph. Can you see it's scattered? And then usually you draw the line sort of there in the middle where you can find the middle of that one. So we get a strong positive correlation when they're close to each other, a weak one when they're far away, and no correlation if you just plot points and there's no correlation. So as I say, this is not asked very often then there. So now we want to look on page 355 at histograms. Page 355 at histograms. So you can write down now histograms. And this is now very important. We're going to draw a lot of this histogram. Histograms is the area of the bar gives the frequency. The area of the bar gives the frequency. The area of the bar gives the frequency. Okay, so you've heard about a histogram, but you've never drawn them. So now we're looking at these ones. Now, if I go back, you don't need to write this down now. If I go back now to that results of grade 10, which we did the other day, and we said the first group is 0 to 19, 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 100. So now you can see the first bar and the last one has a double width. These ones are 10, 10, 10 more or less, and this one is, the first one and the last one is then, because it's between 0 and 20 and 80 to 100. Yeah. Well, no, this is how they do it. That's how they conduct the exam. Between 0 to 19 is a symbol, and between 80 to 100 is an A. Yeah, so that's what we have. Okay, so now we have frequencies 2, 0, 1, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. If we draw this histogram now here, then on the x-axis we're going to work with group data. So this group is now going to be 0 to 20, and then 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and there's 100. And this becomes your frequency density. You write here the frequency density. Look at this because it's worth a mark when we mark these graphs now here. And now the bar width will tell me now what to do. So this one is a double width. Yeah. Let's first start with these ones. This one is 0, so it will just be there. Now, 30 to 31 is 1. So I'm going to draw this one as a 1 there. And then the next one is also a 1. So it will have the same height. This one, okay, so this one is 5. So this one I draw up 5. I first draw the single bars. This one is 6. So it goes up a little. You just draw it neatly. This one is 7. So it goes up a little bit higher. There we have it. But now we're looking at those other bars. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Those two bars are double now in the length. So now their height must be half of it. Can you see? So if this one is 2, I shall actually only draw this one also there at 1, at the same height as those two. Now it's the width here is double. The area of the bar gives the frequency. So this one is 2, but that's it. The 2 already there, the frequency is already 2, so that it must now be only to 1. 1 times 2 is the area. 1 times 1 is this one. You must be able to read it off with the area of the bar gives the frequency. You must be able to do that then. And look at the last one. This one's frequency is 8. The bar width is double, so I'm going to draw this one up to 4.
This lesson is provided by Eduvision with the support of sponsors.
Okay. So we're looking at a cumulative frequency today. We are now going to draw them, also the histograms. We haven't practiced that good enough. Ferdinand, so this is a very nice question because you have the cumulative frequency there and we can just read it off. Ferdinand collects the examination marks of 60 students. He uses them to draw the cumulative frequency diagram, which shows the number of students who score X marks or loss. Use the graph. So we have to read it now off from the graph. Now, if my frequency is 60, where will I find the median? In the middle. So this is at 30. I draw a broken line and I read it off. Remember that you will read it off there every time. Right, Abigail, what do you get for the median? 55, 56, you might differ a little bit here. The upper quartile, now we said the upper quartile is then 3/4 of the frequency of 60. So that means you're going to read this one off at 45. So there at 45, we draw the broken line and we read off that value, 62. And then they say the interquartile range. So now we first have to find 1/4 of 60 again, which is 15. So here at 15, you read it off. So 47, and then the range means you have to subtract those two values. So the answer is 15. 15. The interquartile range is 15. Then John tells Ferdinand he has not considered the top students of the class. They scored more than 75 marks. Use the marks for all 80 students now to complete the following statements. Now, if you have 80 students, where will your median now be? So I will read it off. 1/4 of 60 is 15. But you must read it off. Where's the new median mark now if we read it at 40? 60. So the new median mark is now 60, the new median. And then they say the percentage of candidates who fail when the pass mark is 50. Now again, if we read off 50, you get what? 18. 18 students. So now we have to calculate the percentage. So it's 18 out of the 80 students. And I need to change it to a percentage. So the answer is then 22.5%. 22.5%. Right, so that was now a nice one where we had the cumulative frequency. The second one is also drawn for you, so we can just also read it off there. Answer the whole of this question on a sheet of graph paper. It's the live births in thousands. Just look at that, in thousands. So your answers must also be in thousands. Against the mother's age. Find the total number of live births in Scotland in 1936. One block represents 10, a unit of 10 represents one little block. So it's one block for each one. I would say 64,000. So 64,000, that's where you read it off. Then the next one, find the number of live births in which the mother's age was less than 30. So now we read it off at 30, and what do you read off there? Again, yeah, 54,000. You can't just say 54, you won't get the marks. And then estimate the median age, median middle. So of 64,000, where is the middle now? Okay, at 32, but it's already done for you. It's already added. This is what makes the cumulative frequency so nice. It's already added for you. So you can just read it off. In the table, you added it. Okay, now less than 30 is what? Now the last one, the median, so this is at 32,000, that's what you say. And what did you read off? So let's look at number 5. A circular board is divided into 12 equal sectors numbered from 1 to 12. A dart is thrown and lands on the board. Assume that it is equally likely to land anywhere on the circle. The score is the number in the sector where it lands. When one dart is thrown, what is the probability that it is a square number? So which numbers are squares now? 1, 4, 9. So it's 3 out of what? 3 out of 12, so the probability is 1/4. Then a prime number, or less than 6. Now which numbers are prime now? 2. No, 1 is not prime. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. It's 5. And they say or less than 6 or both. So now we still have the 1 and the 4 and the or means you add. Yes, and means it's the same one. All means you add the 2. So it's 7 out of 12. And then when 2 darts are thrown, the sum of the 2 scores is calculated. List all the possible ways of scoring a 21. So how can you score a 21? 11 and 10, and then also 10 and 11, 9 and 12, 12 and 9. So now if I throw 2 dice or spin 2 spinners, what is the total number of outcomes that I have now? 12 times 12. I have 12 times 12. Yeah, but they say if you throw 2 darts, then you have 144 possible outcomes now. So this one is 4 out of 144. The probability is 4 out of 144. Then they say the table shows the scores when a player throws 1 dart 30 times. 1 out of 36. What is the mode in the next one? What is the mode? Look at the table. What is the mode? 11 is the answer. The highest frequency is 6, but the number that we choose is 11. What is the median? What? No, but don't just say, I don't understand. The mode is the one that occurs most frequently. So the highest frequency is 6, which we read off at 11. Okay, then the median, arrange middle, but this one is arranged. So if there's 30 times, where will the middle be? At number 15. At number 15, half of 30 is 15. Now you add in your table 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 14. So it will be in the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 14. So the answer will be 10. It will be in the 10th group where we will find that. Now I want you now to do it with your calculator. This is where we're going to say 1 times 1 plus 2 times 1 plus 3 times 1. The 4 falls away. Plus 5 times 1 plus 6 times 1. Look at it. You have to write it out like this. Plus 7 times 2. Press it on your calculators, please. Plus 8 times 3. Plus 9 times 4. Okay, so 2, 6, 7. Divide by 30 times. Divide by the 30 times. What is the mean? 3 significant figures, Abigail? Okay, and then D, to prevent damage to the wall, the board, which has a raised radius of 10, is placed on a wooden square of side 30. 1 dart is thrown by a beginner who is equally likely to hit any place. Calculate the area of the sector number 2. Now at this stage, you can't calculate those areas, so I'm going to help you with that one. If there's 12 numbers, at the center, it's 360 degrees. If you divide it by 12, this gives you 30 degrees, which means each sector here is then 30 degrees. So each one there is 30 degrees. The formula that we use, we still need to learn it, is theta over 360 of PR squared. This is how you calculate it. So 30 out of 360 times P, and what is the radius? 10 squared. Right, please make that calculation. And then they say, calculate the probability that the beginner scores 2, giving your answer as a decimal. So that means it is now this area over the original area of 900. Can you see if that wooden board is there? So we have to look at that over the 900. And what is then the probability now? So it will be 262 over 9,000. Removing the decimal. Because I don't want my ratio as a decimal. So